and welcome to the Lazy RV Kitchen in my house. So this week we are prepping for our Disney trip to Fort Wilderness. So today we're going to make the Mexican Alfredo Pasta bake. Now, the only thing we're not doing today is baking it off because we're going to freeze it for our trip. So we're going to start with the main ingredients. We've got chicken tenders, boneless, about 2 pounds, cut into 1-inch chunks. For the seasonings, we're going to add some adobo all-purpose seasoning. One of my favorite seasonings is ground coriander. So if you're familiar with cilantro, the coriander is related to cilantro. It's the seed that the plant grows from. It's got a milder flavor than your plant version of cilantro. Any type of taco seasoning mix that you want to use. I'm using the Keep Your Daydream jalapeno taco blend. Pepper. My favorite seasoning, ground cumin. And then we're going to add some salsa, some garlic, Alfredo sauce, rotel, and some more green chilies for, a little kick. So first, let's season our chicken. So we're going to start with the adobo. And pretty much all of my recipes are to taste. So I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of the adobo. And it's just basically, we're just going to shake it on. And then we're going to take our taco seasoning. This one I'm going to measure because it does have the jalapenos in it. And apparently some people are not as spicy as I am. So we're going to have about 2 tablespoons-ish of our, a little more for sparkle, of our taco seasoning. Now I'm going to add the ground coriander. You don't need to add a lot. So this would be about 1 teaspoon. Or am I measuring, a light shake? My favorite, ground cumin. I love it. That's about 2 tablespoons. If you're not really a fan of cumin, you can omit it. But it is in most of your taco seasoning blends. So now we are going to mix this up and then we're going to put it in the pan. Okay, so we want the seasoning to be evenly distributed. If you notice that some of the little chicken pieces don't have enough seasoning on them, you just add a little bit more. Remember, cooking is to taste, baking is a science and exact measurements. I cook, I don't bake. Alright, so we've got it nice and covered, or nice and incorporated with all of our seasonings. So we're going to go to our skillet.
Excuse me, Doug.
So we have our skillet in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I've already started our pasta because pasta takes a little bit longer to cook. So what I'm looking for when I see that the oil is moving in the pan, and we're just going to move the chicken just a little bit so everybody gets nice and flat. Nobody's, on top of anyone. And now we're just going to let it cook. I'm also going to get the spices that got cut. They got stuck in the little corners. And there we go. So right now I have the stove on medium heat. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit so we get some color on our chicken. Alright, let's move over to the pasta. We are going to see if our pasta is done. And it is. So we're going to turn this off. Woo. And now we're going to drain our pasta. Alright, so as we wait for the chicken to cook, and remember that once you put your chicken in the pan, do not move it. You do not want it, you want color on the bottom of that chicken. You want it to be nice and caramelized. so we don't touch the chicken. The chicken will tell us when it's ready to be flipped. Now, I'm also using a pound of penne pasta as opposed to fettuccine noodles or a curly pasta. I just like the way the penne, the sauce gets into they're kind of the same size as the chicken, and that's what I chose to use. You can use any shape of pasta you want. So right now we're waiting for the chicken to cook on one side, and then we're going to flip it over and cook it on the other. Our chicken cooked through, so I'm going to turn the heat off. Now, if you're struggling to get your chicken to cook through and you have a lid for your pan, or if you've got some aluminum foil, you can tent your pan, and then you can help the chicken kind of keep that heat in the pan. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this cooked chicken to our pasta. Cue the sped up version of me adding chicken. Woo! There goes the chicken. Look how pretty it is. It's nice and brown, although it might, who knows, we're testing out this light thing. Now, one of the benefits of having all of your chicken cut evenly, as you can see, not all of our pieces are cut perfectly, that's okay, is if the chicken's a similar size, it will cook about the same amount of time. Whoops. You might not be able to hear my dogs, but they are hoping that I'm going to drop some chicken. Let us know in the comments if you have what you do with your chicken. Any special tips and tricks you like, seasonings. Now, I do want to get all of the good flavor that's on the bottom of the pan. Do not waste that. That is flavor. That's, some of your seasoning. You're going to want that in your chicken, as opposed to, going down the drain. Alright, so now we're going to start moving on to some of the other ingredients. So first, I'm using a cantina style salsa. And what I like to do is just add just one zhuzh around the sauce pot. Or actually, that was probably about 2. So that's about a cup of, maybe 3/4 cup of salsa. I'm now going to take, so satisfying, 1 jar. This is 22 ounces of Alfredo sauce. Now, you can make your own Alfredo sauce. Be my guest. If that makes you happy, go for it. But I'm not going to make my own Alfredo sauce. Now, don't throw the can away just yet, but we're now going to mix up, let me grab my pot holder, our chicken, our pasta, and our salsa. And it's all going to get nice and happy together. Everybody mixed into the little pool. All right. Get everybody mixed in. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to grab, okay, that's not too super hot. We're going to grab our jar, and we're going to take some of this milk. I'm sorry if you're dairy free, this is probably not the best recipe for you. And I'm going to put about 1/4 cup of milk into the jar. We don't need a lot, we just need a little bit. And then I'm going to take the jar, I'm going to seal it, and I'm going to give it a little shake. If you shake it over the pot, and what this is going to do is that it's going to help loosen up some of the Alfredo sauce that is stuck on the sides. I'm going to pour that in. We'll get us a little spoon and just rake out the rest of the Alfredo sauce. Now, obviously, if you wanted to, you could add different vegetables. You could add peppers and onions. You could add some mushrooms to this recipe. The more vegetables you add, you can make it vegetarian. And there we go. We're going to stir again, just so everybody's kind of all nice and incorporated. And then we're going to put in our last two ingredients. So I'm going to get my can opener out. And I really like Rotel and some diced green chilies. It's not going to add too much heat. If you're afraid of anything spicy. I'm going to open my green chilies. This is about 1 can. This one's about 7 ounces of green chilies. And I like to use the juice in all of it, just adds flavor. And then I like to use 1 can of Rotel. Juice and all, this is 10 ounces. Or 1 small can-ish of Rotel. And then we're going to mix it again. We're mixing some more. Alright, so you've got the red from the tomatoes, got a little bit of the green from the chilies, you've got the chicken, you've got the pasta. You could also add some fresh spinach in this if you're going to eat it right away. Alright, now we're going to get our pan and we're going to prep it for freezing. Okay, so I've got a pan that will fit in my freezer. And I'm going to spoon in my mixture. Just kind of get it all in the pan. Until I can lift the pot without it. Okay. I'm going to slide this little baby in to our pan. I know I should be doing it the other way. Here you go. Look at me do this one-handed. Okay. Whoops. No one left behind. Alright, so we're going to smooth this out. Now, one thing you need to understand with freezer meals is you cannot freeze something that's already hot. We're going to have to let this cool down so that we can put it in the freezer so that it will be safe. Now, I've got my whole... Get in there. Get in there. Okay. I've got my chicken Mexican Alfredo, and I'm just going to top it with some fake grated Parmesan cheese because that is what I have, and it needs to be used up. I'm just going to put a thin little layer on. It's already a pretty rich dish, so you don't need tons, but you know, if I can't have cheese, it's going to be a sad day. And then I like to sprinkle just a little bit more taco seasoning on the top. And there you have it. The Mexican Chicken Alfredo. So the recipe will be on our website. Let us know if you make it. We'd love to see pictures. Bon appetit.